Now broadcasting from the Next Gen Conservative Studio in sunny South Florida, bringing you the latest in politics, current events, and pop culture. This is the Whitfield Report with Sam Whitfield.
You know I've said it before, but we love you, Rumble. But seriously, at this point, you guys really do need to fix your stream key stuff.
Fix your shit, bro. Nah, but I've been making this complaint for like 2 years now, and I'm a fucking subscriber, Rumble. I would stream more on your fucking platform myself if you just didn't make me have to get a new stream key every like you do 2 streams in the same day. Well, you need 2 stream keys, brother.
Yeah.
It's a pain in the it's an extra 30 seconds of bullshit that I don't need to do. OnlyFans does this. Kick does this.
Yeah,
Stream Me used to do it.
Yeah, we were just talking. Like the other thing too is like, you know, I did stream the presidential debate on one of my YouTube channels that isn't banned, and I haven't used YouTube. And I I know everyone complains about YouTube, but I mean, like them, love them or hate them, that YouTube studio, man, there really is nothing else like it. Just, it has its bugs too on occasion, but for the most part, they have it down pat. It's really
Twitch, say what you want about Twitch. Their dashboard is fucking perfect. Everything I need right there. Connect to games, because there's game. That's the thing that sucks if you're a game streamer. There's games that connect to your Twitch chat that you can't connect to any other fucking chat. It'd be fun to play like Hand of Fate 2 or some of these ones where if you have people in chat, they get to vote on fucking you over. But like you can only do that on Twitch, and ain't nobody watching me gonna watch on Twitch.
Right.
And I can stream on Twitch, but I have to censor myself so fucking much. It's not, you can say fucking all you want. I'd have to remove all my flags though.
Yeah, I mean we could stream on YouTube. We just we might have to tone back some of the stuff that we say, and and
we don't have to.
We don't have to.
Just get us a fucking stream key. It's permanent, or if not permanent, just like one stream key, Rumble. We want one. I know you know it. I seen y'all talking in some Discord about it. You need to do it. You're the only streaming platform that doesn't do that. The only one.
Well, yeah, like at this point too, like Rumble, like I hear Rumble like talking like they just acquired Callin, which is like a podcast platform. That's cool. Like
wonderful. Fix your basic functionality first.
Yeah, like I don't need a podcasting platform. Like a lot of people already use Spotify. Like streaming is your primary thing, and also like just basic video uploads. Like I want to be able to do tags.
And the video uploading is fine. I've never had a problem with that. The back end on Rumble looks like it's from 2003. Just generally, it's gotten a little better over the 2 years that I'm paying you money, guys. You should maybe listen to me at the very least. I don't know. That's why I don't stream on your platform as much as I maybe would otherwise. It's just such an annoying little thing.
Yeah.
And plus, sometimes Dave says the N-word, and I can't stream that on there.
Well, I mean that is one thing is I do actually pay for Odyssey. The problem with Odyssey is like even as like a paying member of Odyssey, like Odyssey's been so buggy, like and laggy as far as
target audience. It's target audience. It seems like they've all fallen in a niche. Kick is like the edgy game streamer site, right? As opposed to Twitch. Rumble is the politics, conservative politics site, whether that be videos or whatever else. Yes, they have other things here, but that's primarily why people come to Rumble. And Odyssey is nerd shit. Like, if you're looking for like good videos on hacking, if you're looking for good videos about Linux and distribution, if you're looking for astrophysicists, if you're looking for anything really fucking nerdy, Odyssey might be the best spot on the internet for all that. But the bugs in the fucking software, because of it being blockchain based, there are some issues with that. However, I was just talking to you. I have an idea that and if nobody comes, that's great. But my idea is I'm going to do a show like I did in 2007 for Cryptic Radio in the modern day. So I'm gonna go with my full DJ voice on for it. I'm gonna get hype. We're gonna play music. A lot of it I can get permission for. Knowing a lot of these artists, if I tell them what I'm doing, and I'm gonna try and get some to call in and chat with me. But basically we're gonna do an old school internet radio piracy style a show where we play the music, talk about spooky stories and my interactions with people in underground rap music, and it's gonna be audio only because that's how we used to do this.
Yeah.
There will be something on the screen, but it's not gonna matter. Max Sand returns to his former show, The Midnight Hours, Halloween edition, and I will be playing the wickedest, most vile, violent, obscene music, rap, rock, you name it, country, all of it, the most disturbing, sick, wicked music you can think of for about 2 hours for Halloween, and talk about spooky stories and shit. If anybody's interested in that, it'll be a lot of fun. If not, I'm going to still do it and have fun. Cryptic Video returns for one night only in 2023. I'm going to have to do it myself since the Cryptic guys are all gone. I'm the last man sticking up for Cryptic. But that's okay, because I was the one that came up with our catchphrase. I was the one that did all the bumpers. I did everything for Cryptic. I was Cryptic Radio, so I feel entitled to bring Cryptic Radio back for one night only. And it will be on Odyssey because I have a low chance of getting thrown off. YouTube doesn't care if I ask artists that I know personally and get written permission from them to play their music, which I can totally do. YouTube doesn't care. They'll still copy claim it.
So. Yeah. They'll copy claim it. And even once you appeal it and say, no, the artist literally gave me permission, they'll still bonk you for it. I know from
old school style. We never gave a fuck about getting the fucking rights. Anyway, half the time people were asking me to play their music anyway. I get all these underground artists like, hey, you do underground uncensored music. We make that kind of music. If you play it, people who already like that kind of music might know we exist. So most of the shit I played, I absolutely had permission for. I even got some pre-release shit from like Psychopathic Records and ICP. And they would let me do a pre-release party where I got to play the whole album before it came out. So everybody got to listen to it one time on the radio or the internet radio, and then the fucking record would come out. That's actually good promo because people don't just listen to a record one time. You know what I'm saying? And so if they hear the whole thing and they know that it's dope, and it usually was at that time, I will say that Psychopathic and ICP's quality of music has kind of gone very downhill. But back then it wasn't. Or maybe I'm just old, but I don't think that's it because their records aren't selling the way they used to. Nobody's is, but they're also not as high up on like Spotify charts as I thought they might be compared to other artists in the same kind of space.
No, that's definitely the case. And speaking of going back to your roots, I kind of went back to my roots a bit this week. So Israel, for those, it's been in the news. A lot of people have been talking about it. Uh, Earlier this week, as some of you might have seen on Spotify, I did do an interview with my friend Itena Hedged, is an American Israeli citizen. Um, I've known her for about 6 years. Pretty good interview, albeit a bit short, but um, honestly, that was kind of her preference to have it be a bit shorter. I've gotten some feedback on the podcast. As I said at the beginning of that episode, because I did a disclaimer, yes, I know there are audio issues with that podcast. I didn't actually post the episode until 10:30 at night. The reason being is when we recorded the episode, her internet connection was kind of cutting in and out a bit, and I guess we ended up chalking that up to the fact that you know she's in Israel. Like, she literally is not directly in a war zone. She's actually in one of the safer parts of Israel, but still, the country is at war, and so
It's not a giant country either. It's not like she's a million miles away.
yeah, and also she doesn't have like a good setup like Max I do. She was literally, when I talked to her, she was using her phone for uh you know for Skyping in. Um, and we did we had a pretty good interview, and one of the reasons why I wanted to have her on was because right, we keep hearing from all these experts on both sides in the Middle East, and
Or people who act like experts.
well, yeah,
Yeah.
that actually, Max, tends to be more of the case, as we hear from some people who, for those of you who are listening, heavy air quotes, are experts, quote unquote, and you know, look, I've actually been thinking about this a lot lately. Today, I try not to get too much on my soapbox here, but I would like to think that one of the things I try and do here on the show, that I've always tried to do, is have meaningful conversations. And I think it is
Talking to a
meaningful.
civilian in a war zone who, as far as I can tell, doesn't have, foreign policy expertise on every angle of the situation. She's just there. That's what came across to me listening to it. I don't know.
Right.
And
I
that, I
mean,
think, is a needed perspective that you don't see a lot of.
yeah, I mean, she, like,
Obviously everybody has an idea of what's going on, but she doesn't know every in and out of the last 60 years of fucking you know what I mean, foreign policy between the Palestinians and the Israeli. Like, she's just there, man. Right?
right.
She knows there was a terror attack. She doesn't know every little detail because none of us do, because we're not there, and she's just telling you from a civilian on the ground how it's affected her life. And I think that's an important fucking interview. So props
Yeah.
to you for bringing it to us.
And so, yeah, and that was my whole point. And the reason the reason I kind of bring this up is because I got criticism because, oh, she didn't talk about this, that, or the other thing, and it's like, well, no, she
Talk
wasn't.
about what she knows about.
Yeah, she taught, and by the way, she also says that she isn't, an expert. Um, you
Yeah.
know,
All that other shit.
what
Like, if you want those autistic details, you can find them all. She's going to tell you what she knows, where she's
she
at, where she's coming from, you know?
and for the things that she did speak, and for the things that she was able to speak on, she actually did say, look, go to my Substack. Here are here are my sources that I'm using for, you know, uh,
Well, as far as I understood it, politically wasn't her whole like issue. She's like a one issue type person. It was abortion that she was talking about mostly, correct?
Well,
Pro-life was a very big issue for her, I should say. I don't know if it was her one issue, but it certainly was something that she's very big on.
Yeah, so kind of just for further background. So I met her. She's also very pro. She is a dual citizen, so she still does vote. She's very pro Trump, and that's how I first met her. Was back in the day. We actually met in the Owen Benjamin like Facebook group before Owen Benjamin went like full craze, because he was kind of in mainstream conservative circles. I met Atana because she's a big Ben Shapiro fan, and
Sure.
the fact that I interviewed Ben, she wanted to kind of talk to me, and so like I've gotten to know her over the course of 6 years. Like, for one of the things that this kind of just goes to show how crazy. I didn't realize how long I had really known her, but just to give you guys some perspective,
well, I just want to point out while you're doing that, we'd be open to having a civilian in Palestine come in and talk as well.
Yeah.
And we wouldn't expect them to know the ins and outs and every detail of anything either. That's just not feasible.
Okay, yeah. As I was saying, when I first met her, she had small children, and now her kids are like teenagers now, and that's it's kind of like that's kind of mind-blowing to think that like I've known her for that long. Like I've seen, and like that's the other thing too, is like we were talking like we were talking at like the fear porn element, and like just so that like other people know, like even a lot of the Israeli citizens like tell their kids, don't go on social media, or like they don't even pay attention
the
to
hardcore violence that's being so casually strewn across social media. People don't seem to understand that viewing images like that do have detrimental effects on mental health of most human beings, unless you're a psycho.
Right.
Unless you're an actual psychopath, looking at that stuff is not good for your mindset at all. This is why I told you before the show, I was like, I've been not paying attention because everybody's being doomer and war and death and destruction. I'm from the streets. And because of that, like I have, I guess, a much more grounded connection to the people around me in my local area than some kind of abstract concept across. Now, talking to, like you did, talking to a civilian caught in a war zone is that's something that appeals to somebody like me, because I can relate to that from that ground level. What I don't relate to is all the people at the top of Hamas and all the people at the top of Israel who think that killing each other is fine. Now, I understand that they both can make a case to you and explain to you why they do what they do and why it's right. Both sides can do that. That doesn't mean that either one is morally justified or not. I'm not making a moral judgment. I'm saying that if you talk to Hamas, they'll be like, oh, yes, we're doing it because of this, that, and the other thing that they have done to us over the years. Likewise, if you talk to Israel, you'd be like, oh, but look at all these terrorist attacks that they've committed. They both have justification to themselves. Nobody is the villain in their own story. Hamas does not consider themselves the bad guys, no matter how much everybody else might.
Right.
Al-Qaeda, Bin Laden never considered themselves the bad guys. And you have to understand that. But from where I'm sitting, there are a lot of homeless people near me. There's veterans who can't get housing. There's immigrants coming in that don't speak a lick of fucking English, and they're coming in illegally, and they're just dropping them off. There's a crime, gun crime. I may have talked about this on the show, but I was a witness to, and in a way a victim of a fucking gun crime not that long ago. Some guy directly across the street from my house, and this is a good neighborhood, by the way. This is a really good neighborhood in a good city that doesn't have anything like this happen ever. A guy opened fire while my wife, son, and mother-in-law were in the car leaving to go vote in the fucking mayoral election. This guy across the street opened fire at a random car, shot 7 times.
Right.
About 100 feet from where I'm sitting right now.
Yeah.
So I don't actually care to send our blood and treasure to Israel when I have a fucking war zone outside my front door sometimes. I've never experienced that in my whole life, and I'm from the fucking streets. I'm not from a nice neighborhood like this. I'm from places where people would shoot on occasion, but it was never so fucking casual and blatant right in front of my fucking 6-year-old child and his mother. Right, who were then worried that they were going to get shot, obviously.
Yeah.
Fucking crazy. But I have to care about some conflict that's a couple fucking generations old at least from a fucking place that I'll never go to. That has no impact on my life whatsoever.
Yeah, more like I
feel bad for the victims of the violence. I really do. But we're victims of violence. We're victims of the fucking fentanyl getting pushed onto our streets that are killing people. We're victims of this inflation driving it so like the same amount of money you're making because your wages probably haven't gone up very much doesn't buy you fucking shit anymore.
Right. No, exactly. That's what we're doing.
That's what normal people are more concerned about. I'm sorry about like the mess that's going on over there. It's horrible. All those children, it's terrible. But we got our own fucking problems.
It's also though, and this is kind of the title because I really haven't been paying much attention.
We're just going to inflate more to send you all some money so that we're even poorer? How does that even make sense?
Well, I
don't have the money to send anymore.
I haven't been paying that much attention to this week either, Max. But
the only thing I saw was Joe Biden said he wanted to send money to both sides. Good idea.
Yeah,
great idea. Let's fund their fucking bloodshed against each other. You fucking moron. But that's what he wants, right?
Yeah.
Look, you know who's benefiting off of all of this? Let's just stop with the bullshit. Who's benefiting? Raytheon stock through the fucking roof. I wonder why. All the fucking defense contractors' stocks are through the fucking roof. I wonder fucking why.
Well, and then
good for them. It's good for business.
Well, and then also, this is one of the things
those dead children are feeding them. Literally.
This is one of the things I wanted to talk about, and I'm even kind of a little upset with Tucker on this. I generally tend to like Tucker, but everyone in the news media, like, including some of the independent political commentators, all they can talk about is World War III is pending. I swear some of them actually get like aroused by like. This is the idea of literal like fear porn. I swear that like some of these people get aroused.
It has the same effect on the human brain. They've done studies on this. It has the same effect. Fear porn and actually what I call bad cop porn both stimulate the same part of your brain as regular pornography. It's the disgust sector, but it's your basic revolt at things, but it's also like your basic like addiction to things. It's like the center that controls both, right? And they're all lit up when you see this fucking the war porn, the dead baby pictures and stuff. Just like when you see a cop shooting somebody unjustly, and just like when you see a girl getting fucked. The same thing in your brain lights up for all three, and they know that.
Yeah.
If you don't know that, they know that. And they are happy to fucking light that part of your brain up to further their agenda and put money in their pocket.
And Tucker Carlson had on Colonel Douglas McGregor, who again I generally like, but their entire conversation, I didn't watch very much of it, but generally the conversation from what I did read, Max, just to save you some time, is Tucker was like, "Well, what do you think will happen if the U.S. if this does turn into World War III?" And McGregor's is like, "Well, this could happen, or this will probably happen." Okay, I'm sorry, but like, I don't want could or probably like. Even if you're well educated on this, even if you can kind of war game, it's not. Here's the thing: I don't want to worry about World War III until World War III is an actual thing.
Well, but let me put it to you a different way. What he's doing there is weighing how many human lives, American lives, are acceptable to throw away. That's what he's doing. How many guys now? I don't know. We do have a bit of an older audience, so this might be true. How many people do you personally know that are active duty military or have been in the recent past? Ask yourself that.
I know at least like 5 or 10 personally that I went to high school with, or like
Same. Everybody over the age of 30 has at least one, right? That is served while they've been growing up or whatever. So like, take those guys and say 1 out of every 5 is gonna die. Is that and then they determine, these generals and stuff, well, that's an acceptable loss. Well, no, none of them are an acceptable loss to me. None of them are an acceptable loss to their mom and dad. None of them are an acceptable loss to their community, their brothers, their sisters, their friends. Not one is an acceptable loss. Not to me.
Not to me either. The other thing too is after I even brought this up even before Max came onto the show. After the whole clusterfuck of the Afghanistan plot, which happened, by the way, right after Biden got into office, right? I'm not like, I don't think people understand. I'm still not convinced that Biden has just shit together, or anyone in this administration has their shit together to make a military operation.
Aren't you glad the grown-ups are back in charge?
Oh yeah. I'm really fucking relieved, Max. I don't know if you can hear the sarcasm.
Starting fucking wars everywhere, just like, that's what grown-ups do, right? Fuck you, man. Fuck this whole fucking shit. Like, American soldiers don't need to die for some foreign conflict that really has nothing to do with us. We made that mistake in Iraq. That had nothing to fucking do with us. Was Saddam a good guy? No, he was a piece of shit. But it really wasn't our fucking war. And if you want to talk about, it's related to 9/11, he hated Saddam Hussein, hated Osama bin Laden. He wrote letters talking about how big of a piece of shit he thought Osama bin Laden was. Why, you might ask? Because Osama bin Laden, with his extremism, because you got to remember, the Ba'athist Party weren't the best Muslims, okay?
Right.
They weren't like staunch fucking Muslims. So in Saddam's mind, this extremist, militant Muslim is causing him problems and would eventually be the reason that America came to take him out. And guess what? He was right. So he didn't like fucking Osama, and he had nothing to do with goddamn 9/11. And they still haven't found those pesky weapons of mass destruction that were so real. Let's just not do that again. Let's just not. Let's just look. The entirety of the Gaza Strip contained, not anymore because they've evacuated, but contained about 2 million people. Now, if you listen to the Palestinian side of the argument, very few of them are actually Hamas sympathizers or supporters. The stats don't back that up because they re-elect Hamas in every election. So the majority does like Hamas. You could argue that if they don't vote for Hamas, they might get killed. And maybe that's the case. I don't fucking know. I won't pretend to know. What I do know is that the common narrative is it's only a small part of the Palestinian population that's a part of this, that's actually actively engaged in terrorist or sympathetic to it. and there's 2 million people. So that means there's probably only a couple 10,000 people that are actual Hamas.
Yeah.
Israel can handle it. Sorry, they can. I know they can because of how much money we've given them without any question. And if you question it, you're an anti. I once got told by libertarians that I was the biggest anti-Semite in the world because I made the case that we should cut foreign aid everywhere. Libertarians were telling me that that was an anti-Semitic position because one of those places is Israel. Oh, so it's not racist to say don't give money to Africa. It's not racist to say don't give money to Malaysia. Only Israel do they have a problem with. And I'm like, no, I think we shouldn't be giving money to anybody because we don't have it. We're broke. That's why inflation's a problem. See, when inflation wasn't a problem, it's because we did have surplus money to fucking throw at stupid fucking projects. But guess what? When you don't have that money to throw at stupid projects, all you do is further and further the fucking inflation rate, which has gone up again. I know they just sent out a thing about all the welfare recipients getting cost of living adjustment increases. I've seen a lot of it. And the rate that they're citing it as is like 7 or 8%. That probably means it's like 20%. If you look at the COLA adjustments each year for people who get the COLA adjustments are for people with, I guess, Social Security, not Medicare, Medicaid, but like Social Security, disability, welfare, right? They get a cost of living adjustment because the fucking inflation rate. But whatever the government says the fucking rate is that they do for that, and they said it, I think it was 7.2 I saw somebody screen capped it on Facebook randomly. 7.2. That's what the government says the inflation rate is officially. It's probably 3 times that for sure. So even they know we don't have fucking money, but Joe Biden specifically said he's going to send $100 million to fucking Palestine, and then
Yeah.
$1 billion to fucking Israel. Why are we going to fund both sides of this fucking war? What purpose does that serve? Except to make Raytheon richer. They're already rich as fuck.
Exactly. More
stock tip, buy defense fucking stocks. Buy defense contractor stocks. If you're a stock guy, buy them now. You're already getting ripped off if you buy in now, but they're going to go up as this fucking shit hypes up and then sell when they peak out because when there's no World War III happens, they're going to drop right the fuck back down.
Oh yeah.
This is not financial advice, by the way. This is just my take.
Morpheus says that's a lot of the reason why I'm against the U.S. being the world police. We have fucking problems here. Yeah, exactly.
We've sat here and done bits about how hard it was for you to get a fucking replacement wheelchair. Like, do we need to open up 3 theaters of war? What the fuck?
Yeah, and like I said, I mean, here's the thing: if Trump were still in office, this wouldn't be. By the way, I do. You want to talk about an expert in the Middle East? I actually did listen to Jared Kushner's interview with Lex Friedman. It is worth listening to if you get the opportunity. It's 3 hours, but at least the first hour for sure is worth listening to. Trump, love him or hate him, even the liberals even the more moderate liberals are starting to acknowledge now. When it came to military shit, Trump knew what he was.
Their only hope at this
doing.
point, their only hope, the Democrats for 2024, is to literally put him in jail and take him off the ballot. They have no other hope he's going to win. And if they do that, no one's going to trust the election system ever again. It's already on shaky ground. Which, yes, they are rightly concerned about that, but they're not concerned enough to stop the bullshit interference in the election that they're engaged in, right? They're concerned that people aren't going to believe in democracy or whatever anymore, but they're not concerned enough to stop smashing it.
Yeah, whenever they say they're concerned about democracy, I really that like okay, so this is another thing that Itana brought up in her that she did bring up, and this part got cut out kind of in the interview, but she did bring up a good point, which is that the American left here is really concerned about anti-Semitism when it comes to like the five
Oh yeah, they cared a lot about racism until the fucking Israel thing kicked off, and then they all of a sudden put on fucking swastika uniforms.
yeah, well,
All of
exactly.
a sudden they hate Jews. But if you paid attention, that's not new. It's been there under the surface for a very long time.
No, it's not new at all. I've known this. Max knows this. I guess the one good thing is that like now, like more like this is the other thing is like I do kind of get a little surprised because like more normie people I guess have realized it. Like I've literally gotten some texts that are like, wow, I had no idea that like the left was actually, like anti-Semite. And I'm like, here I am being like, you didn't know that? Like, I've known that for the past like 10 years. It's
Well,
kind of
because
like,
they've had a troubled relationship with this for a very long time. For example, conspiracies aside, that there's a whole bunch regarding it. On the record, the official story of Robert Kennedy's assassination, it was by Sirhan, who wrote a letter explaining his actions that said that it was for the Palestinian Liberation Organization, the
yeah,
PLO. So this has been a problem with the anti-Israel left, has been a thorn in the side of the mainstream left. But for the longest time, the mainstream left had kind of been reining in their extremists to some degree until the last like 3 elections. All of a sudden, extremists run the party. So now there's nobody stopping this. It used to be a dirty little secret that, yes, some groups on the left not only hate Israel to this extent, but will literally murder a presidential candidate, brother of the president, over it, right? They don't want you to know that that's part of the left, just like they don't want to talk about the Weather Underground. Obama was a fucking part of that. They're a
yep.
terror group. Like it or not, the Weather Underground is a fucking terror group. They bombed people.
I've known that since I was like 13, 14, and everyone.
Most people don't see us in mainstream media. Like if you're the rare duck that listened to like Rush as a kid, you might know some of this shit. But like the average person, especially in my age, they got their news on the world from Jon Stewart for like 10 years.
Right.
So they got that snarky center left take on everything, right?
That's
why a lot of them are on the left now.
Yeah. Well, it is kind of like crazy though to like I don't know if you so there's this comedian named Michael like Rappaport who like is peak Trump derangement syndrome. Like he
He's
posts
always
these,
been peak cringe, to be fair. He was like before Trump, he was pretty cringe.
He's always been peak cringe.
He did a I'm not even joking you. He did a diss rap about Ashton Kutcher. This is real. You can look that up. Mike Rappaport, diss rap, Ashton Kutcher. It's from like 2008, and it's the worst fucking music video you'll ever see in your life. Go ahead. I just had to throw that out there.
No, he this week though, I almost sent it to him actually. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. Like he did this video that like talked like how like bad Hamas, like everything I've been saying for like the past like decade about Hamas and just radical Islam in general. He literally just said in this video, like, I don't know, 2 or 3 days ago. And so
that's the interesting thing, isn't it? That the Jews who are on the left have been kind of just left hanging by the rest of the left.
Well, like, I hate to say this, but like I'm not saying that he's red pill. I'm not saying that he's like all of a sudden red pilled. But I will say this: like if this is what red pill, if this is what finally like red pills more Jews to like Trump, I guess. Like now the actual
Or just
anti-Semitic.
away from the left that actively hates them, and now they're finally seeing it right in their faces, like in New York.
Like, yeah, yeah, sure. We can all agree that like the 0.5 like percent of like neo-Nazis here in the country are bad. Like, yeah, but like now there's actual anti-Semitism that is like blatant, right?
I
And
read
so
an
like
article just today, a guy in LA, a meth head of some variety, druggo, right? But he fucking broke into some Jewish family's house and he was waving a knife around saying he was going to kill them because they're Israeli, which they aren't. They aren't. They're just fucking some Jews that live outside fucking LA, in a middle class neighborhood. I hate to laugh because it's not funny, right? It's not funny. These people were
no.
terrorized. But it is what it is. I mean, I have to point out, because it does seem like you and some fans here of the AEW channel, did you notice their blatant anti-Semitic storyline?
Yeah. Can't say
That was a bad look, bro. For those that are
yeah.
unaware, they're champion on All Elite Wrestling, which is this small competitor to WWE. It's like TNA Impact used to be. They have like 700,000 people that watch their pro. Actually, TNA Impact used to get over 1 million, so it's smaller than TNA. I know the AEW fans like to be like, it's like WCW. No, it's smaller than TNA Impact at its peak, actually. Regardless, the people that like that thing, that's the kind of thing they like and they watch it. Their champion is named Maxwell Jacob Friedman, a Jewish guy from Long Island, and he tells stories about being a Jew. And one of the stories he's told on multiple occasions is that in high school, a lot of the bigger football players would throw quarters at him and say, "Pick him up, Jew boy." This is a story he's told on the air as like his evil, because he was a heel. I guess he's a babyface now. Whatever. Bad guy, good guy, whatever. He was a bad guy. And so that was his evil origin story. Like the world was picking on me and anti-Semitic. And so now I'm an asshole. Flash forward to 2 weeks ago. Sorry, 2 weeks ago. An opponent for his title, of whose name I am unaware. Apparently he was some Japanese wrestler. He looked like a white guy to me, but whatever. Comes out with a roll of quarters and written on, he knocked Maxwell out with the quarters, right? And
Oh no.
on the quarters is the name Friedman, which is like, bro, you might as well have written Jew boy on it, you fucking idiots. How they put this out on the air the same week all this Israel, whatever you think about it, they had to know somebody was going to get pissed off about this. There's no way they didn't know.
The thing about
that's as dumb as Vince McMahon saying the N-word, not gonna lie.
Yeah, no. Well, the thing out like AEW is I really
wanted to succeed. I know.
Well, the thing it is like from a market, as a guy who studied marketing in college, I really can't defend them these days much because they've made so many like bad, just like, even if you're not a wrestling fan, like,
yeah, but this one transcended wrestling for a moment.
No, that's
what they go, man. I saw they got articles written in like New York Magazine and all these fucking publications. Like, what the fuck, AEW?
That's what I'm saying is just from like a sheer marketing perspective. Like they made so many fuck ups because Tony Khan is horrible at marketing.
If I were to take a guess as to what happened, WWE has a lot of Jews in their higher ups. Okay, so they would have never put a storyline like that on there. And in fact, a fun story. One time, it was pitched to Vince McMahon to have a certain wrestler who was like big and German and blonde, is Heidenreich, I believe his name was. It was pitched in a meeting to Vince. We should have him come back as a frozen Nazi. And then have Paul Heyman manage him. Paul Heyman is very fucking Jewish, if you didn't know.
Oh, that just sounds Jewish. Paul Heyman?
Yeah. So Paul Heyman managing a frozen in time Nazi was this guy's pitch. And apparently Vince McMahon stood up, didn't say a word, left the meeting, and then called that guy later that night to say he was fired. So no, this wouldn't have made it on WWE television because somebody would have been like, bro, no, we can't do that. But AEW, there's nobody to tell this. Tony Khan is the guy running the whole thing. There's nobody telling him no for anything. And I've made a lot of poignant comments about them cutting on camera, like they actually cut their face right where you can see it. That's like a huge turn off to me in wrestling. Like that's like, hey, look at us, we're fake, guys, we're real fake. That's not fun to watch for me. That is a minor concern. That's a wrestling fan concern. Okay, they've had they fired CM Punk because of a backstage fight. He's probably one of the most over guys in the wrestling industry ever. Sure, whatever. That's a wrestling thing. The anti-Semitic storyline, wrestling fans are going to be the least, upset about it. They're actually not going to care. They're used to edgy storylines of some description. But getting all that bad press about it. And then I guess this week what they did is they had MJF go to a conference on anti-Semitism. I feel like it would have probably been smarter to send the guy that did the thing. You know what I mean? MJF probably knows about it being a Jewish guy.
Yeah.
And so they were just trying to promote this conference or whatever. I don't know.
This whole thing feels like a Curb Your Enthusiasm skit.
Like they keep trying to fix it and making it worse. Yeah. Like
that. Yeah, it's totally Curbed. Yeah. So
and then if they come out and like apologize and say, "Oh, we didn't mean to offend the Jewish people," then they're gonna have a bunch of people like, "Oh, what about the Palestinians?" It's a no-win situation. Why would you jump into that mess at all with your stupid wrestle show?
Well,
and if you ever ask yourself, well, where could I look to some inspiration for if I should do this kind of thing or not? Ask yourself this. Has the crazy motherfucker known as Vince McMahon allowed that on his television? Because he's allowed necrophilia, racism, he's allowed a lot of fucking shit. So if it wouldn't be allowed on his television, you shouldn't put it on television.
He threw a guy in a wheelchair down a flight of fucking stairs, and that was
hilarious. That one-legged guy.
Yeah, that was hilarious and very much allowed, by the way. But yeah, that's my point. Is he allowed that and a bunch of other shit? But when
Rowdy Piper in blackface, fucking Vince said the N-word in front of Booker T. Like you literal necrophilia. Triple H dressed up as Kane, fucking a puppet that's supposed to be a dead body. This has happened on WWE television. Midian once fucked the Thanksgiving turkey that everybody ate. This happened on WWE television. So if WWE wouldn't air the thing, probably a bad idea. Tony Khan. I know he listens to this show, so he's definitely going to get this message.
Well, I mean, we probably get more views than AEW does at this point.
Oh my God! They brought Edge from WWE, huge star who had been retired for 7 years and then came back, and they couldn't even crack fucking 600,000 viewers.
Yeah.
Oof. That's because on the other channel they had John Cena and The Undertaker. It's hard to compete. You don't have names, and getting attention by edgy storylines is a dangerous game, because if you get away with it, maybe you get a hot angle out of it, and if you don't, then you have the ADL saying you need to censor your television or whatever.
Speaking of shit that backfired and went sideways, this doesn't necessarily have to do with wrestling, but
thank God.
So Spider-Man
I was gonna ask you how you liked Gay Spider-Man 2.
Okay. So I actually have a video coming out on it that will probably be at this point coming out on Friday. I was going to try and release it today, but I just
They
got
went
busy with.
they went all in on some gay content. And it's
Well,
funny because if you play the Middle Eastern copy, it's all not there.
that's exactly that's exactly what I was going to comment on.
I want that
Not just
version.
that, but like, well, yeah, that's the version that I think everybody wants.
That's like the holy
Not just
grail.
not just not just that, but now
That's
but
okay.
now
By the time it comes to PC, when I can play it, there'll be a mod that fixes it.
but
It
well,
won't be on
but
Nexus
now
mods, but fuck Nexus mods.
but now the Latin community is pissed off too, especially here in Florida. Like I actually have Latino friends who text me and were like, "Bro, what the fuck is this Latinx shit?"
Oh,
Because
oh.
they're trying to push that now, and I was saying this
It's
like
pronounced. No, see, it's pronounced Latinx, which makes it even worse. Like as if it
oh
wasn't
yeah,
bad enough. It's Latinx. That's how you're
you know,
supposed to say it.
and you know
That sounds
like
a lot
and you
less
know
cool
actually
than
like I
Latino, by the way. And by the way, women will even say let they're Latino in some cases because just because the language itself is gendered doesn't mean that they are always going to use the appropriate gender at all times to refer to themselves or a physical object. I don't know. People who don't understand that there's gendered language in other languages just don't understand any other languages and should probably just shut the fuck up.
no what's
Because
hilarious is
in Spanish, the store has a gender. The road has a gender. The car has a gender. You're God. So even if you put the X, even if you did Latinx, it doesn't matter because the language itself is still O or ah for fucking everything.
try, trying to explain this gender neutral language to my Cuban neighbor is the most hilarious thing. I feel bad for I feel
Nobody who
bad.
Spanish is their first language will ever understand it. The
No,
only people who fucking do it are people that they were raised in America. English is their first language.
and
Yeah.
I feel bad because like my neighbor who is from Cuba, like he speaks English pretty well, but like Spanish is still his first like language.
Mm-hmm.
He was like, okay, so like help me to understand it. And I just told him at one point, I can't because it's like I
Because
don't.
I think it's stupid too. Yeah. And then they're like, oh, people are normal. I got
Yeah.
Latino neighbors that they say the same kind of shit. They're like, I don't get any of this shit. And when I say, yeah, me either, man, they're like, okay, good. Yeah.
Well, so it's so not only and again like I'm trying I'll get into spoilers to stuff in the video, but another thing that they've done is so like Max, I'll give you credit on two things is like I am a fan of Miles Morales in the same way that you are because when they don't tokenize
Oh,
him,
did they tokenize Miles?
yep,
Oh,
they
I knew it. I knew it.
so
What
not
did
only
they tokenize him as black or Hispanic? Because he's technically both.
well, they did both, but like here's the other thing too is like okay, so Miles like is like Puerto Rican and
Yeah.
so in the first game they have like in the first game in the Miles Morales game, they have the Puerto Rican flag.
Uh-huh.
But they virtue signaled so hard in this one that someone forgot their flags, and so they gave him the Cuban flag. They gave him the Cuban flag in his apartment.
He's from New York, not Miami. What the fuck? How do you not know a fucking Hispanic from fucking New York is more likely Puerto Rican than anything else.
Because these fuckers that make the game are all from fucking California.
True. Okay.
They also like
we don't have just for anybody that's not on the East Coast. It's literally the East Coast. We have two kinds of Latinos here. Only two. Okay. There's more coming in because they're spreading all out over the country. But for my entire life, it's been the case that we have Puerto Ricans, and if you go far enough south, Cubans. That's the East Coast. We don't really have Guatemalans. We don't have Haitian. Like, those are the two kind, and we certainly don't have Mexicans, because Mexicans don't need to come nearly this far to find fucking work when they come into the country. So, yeah, if they're from the East Coast, I guess that's what they thought. They're West Coast people, and they're like, well, he's an East Coast Latino. Let's give him the Cuban flag. It's like, bitch, he's Puerto Rican. He's always been Puerto Rican. He's from New York City. His dad's black, but his dad's also a cop. His only real connection to street culture is his uncle, who gets killed, much in an Uncle Ben type scenario.
Oh yeah, and by the way, they somehow brought Aaron. They somehow brought Uncle Aaron back from the dead, and never explained literally they don't. I literally went back to the Miles Morales game to see if they explained it. Nope, he just survived somehow, and that's a thing now.
This explains something though. I was at the store the other day, and I got a Venom shirt, right? And I wasn't thinking much of it, and the guy at the cashier said, "Oh, have you played Spider-Man 2 yet?" And I was like, "Oh, no, we got an Xbox. I'll play it on PC in a couple years." And he's like, "Oh, you probably won't want to." And I looked at him and I was like, "Well, Spider-Man was a good game." And then I went home and I was like, "I know, it's full of gay shit. That's gotta be it."
Look, I will say this, the main story. So the main story campaign is So here's the hilarious thing.
Hold on. I need to hear an as fucking a pronoun style rant about it though, because if there's anything a little bit woke in it, you can't defend it, right?
Well,
the main pronouns, which is the only thing that I even would even notice in Starfield. Spider-Man's like, here's all the trans flags, and everybody's gonna give it a pass because Sony. So yeah, I see how it is.
So here's okay. Can we just go into spoiler territory at this point?
I ain't gonna play the game.
If you haven't played the game, if you haven't played the game yet and you want to click off at this point,
just know it's full of gay shit.
And if you don't fucking care, stay tuned. But long story short, so the game is hilarious because it's woke, but yet also not woke too, because they do stuff that contradicts itself. So essentially, at the end of Spider-Man 1, it's revealed in kind of a post-credits scene that that Harry Osborn has been stuck in Norman Osborn's penthouse lab for a couple of years, and literally Norman, and I think this is pretty much canon in the comics, right? The Osborns suffer from ALS or something like that, and so long story short, Norman finds a symbiote and basically sticks hair in a tank, and the symbiote basically cures him of cancer, or keeps it in remission or some shit like that. So the game starts off with Harry's all of a sudden back, his cancer's in remission and he's feeling great. He's got some device that keeps the symbiote in check. At one point, Craven comes to town and basically kills Peter, and the symbiote chooses Peter and revives Peter, and that's how Peter gets the black suit. There's this whole there's this whole plot within the story that like basically like Harry's kind of like a Green New Deal type of guy, and he and Peter start like this green movement organization um to like heal the planet and whatnot. The thing it is though is like eventually Peter gets rid of the black suit because it like corrupts him, so he gets rid of the black suit with the help of Miles. The black suit goes back to Harry. Harry becomes Venom, and essentially like this is the hilarious thing is like basically like Venom is an eco terrorist who like wants to turn the entirety of the world into symbiotes to like save the planet. So like in a weird way, like Insomniac like is actually saying that like radical like greenism is no it's
this is cool. Keep going.
It's hilarious because it like contradicts itself. Like green is bad and eco-terrorism is bad because eco-terrorism equals venom. But yeah, and like in all the side missions, like that's what really goes woke because like the side missions is basically like what Miles has to do. So it's all like Miles like has to help like his classmates ask like someone out to prom or something like that. And there's all this like gay Latinx stuff and whatnot. So yeah, that's pretty much the game in a nutshell, essentially.
What have I been playing? Not that. I'll say that. I've been playing. My wife actually on the Steam Deck beat the game The Quarry, which is like a horror game. She had a lot of fun with that.
Ooh, I heard that's pretty good.
I played a little Metal Hellsinger. It is a rhythm-based, metal-based shooting game. It's a lot of fun. You got to shoot along with the beat, and they have like a lot of famous metal musicians on the soundtrack. And if you keep a combo going, like as you level up your combo, the song gets more layers, and so like the top layer is the vocals. So you start out with just the drums, doom, 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 and then you kill a couple enemies, and then it's like the drums and the bass, like doom, 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 and you still got to stay to the beat. It's pretty good.
So it's like Guitar Hero, but with like guns and shit, basically.
Something like that, yeah. You just shoot to the beat. There's a couple games like that I like. What the fuck is the other one? PPM, bullets per minute, is another good rhythm-based shooter.
I want to play that game just based off the title alone. Bullets per minute. Holy shit!
It's pretty good, and it's like themed with like Norse mythology combined with sci-fi. It's got this really weird aesthetic, and the music is fucking fantastic. But yeah, Metal Hellsinger is just like a fancier version of that. I've been playing V Rising, which is a vampire game where it's a survival game, and there's bosses, and you beat them up. You build a castle, and at daytime, if you go in the sunlight, you'll die. So you have to like hop from shadow to shadow.
I've still been playing Disco Elysium.
Yeah. Oh, and my wife started. Obviously, she finished The Quarry in like a day because it's only like 8 hours long. She started Cyberpunk on the Steam Deck, which runs great, by the way.
Yeah, that's I'm glad. I hope she enjoys it. So,
well, she's not usually into shooter type games, but she is really into story, and I was like, look, you'll like it.
Morpheus says fucking pronouns, and then he also says I fucking love V Rising.
Yeah, V Rising is sick.
Yeah,
it's like the one survival game that like I don't get bored of because there's a goal, and the goal is like like there's a tree of like bosses, and you pick the next one up the tree as you get better gear, and it shows you like a line to where they're located, and then you go fight them, and each boss is different, and then they unlock new shit you can build at your castle to like upgrade your shit, and it's this perfect loop. And they're not even it's still early access. They're not even like done with the game yet. It's only got like half the content, but it's fucking fantastic.
Yeah.
You know what I'm really looking forward to? I'd love to get a whole fucking crew for this. Lord of the Rings, Mines of Moria. Let me hit you with this pitch, Sam. Imagine a survival game like the Conan game they had, Ark Survival, Rust, stuff like that. Or Valheim. I don't know if you know Valheim.
Yep.
Okay.
Haven't played in a while, but yeah.
Imagine one of those games, but it's set in the Mines of Moria in Lord of the Rings, and you're the dwarves taking back their homeland. And so you're building your dwarven underground bunker, but it's a survival game. Dwarf survival. I'm sold. 100%. There's not enough dwarf games, in fact.
There are
Stone, my brothers.
There aren't enough dwarves in media in general, especially since Peter Dinklage now says that like it's ableist to cast dwarves.
Yeah, but that hasn't affected video games because like there's still Deep Rock Galactic, which is like space mining dwarves, which is Dwarf Fortress has been more popular than fucking ever. And so the idea of making a survival game where you're a bunch of dwarves building an underground dwarven fucking city, baller. I'm down. I'm getting that.
Yeah.
Nobody's talking about it. Everybody's talking about all the big AAA titles. That's my shit right there. And I've watched enough video of pre-release now. It's basically like a simple Dark Souls combat and building big dwarf structures and mining.
Yeah. I don't know if I'll get it on pre-order, but I did watch more footage of the of RoboCop.
Yeah.
And that does look really good.
They only put the demo out on the Steam Next Fest on Steam, but I'm pretty sure that they are coming with a demo to consoles very soon. I just recommend to play it because watch that game in particular is one of those games that it doesn't do it justice to just watch. Because I was walking through that first level of RoboCop, all slow like RoboCop walks. By the way, I found that there is a sprint button, but like you're RoboCop, who's going to use the fucking sprint button, right? You're going to go and just blasting motherfuckers. The shooting feels so goddamn visceral. It's one of, I think the closest I can say is the feeling I got playing Soldier of Fortune, the original one back in like 2000, where it's like, holy shit, those bullets hit a motherfucker.
Yeah.
It's not just like a red mist blood spray, but it's also their head going kaboom, and then you can find brains. If you go looking around the room, you can find brains stuck to the walls and shit. It's pretty metal. It's about as violent and crazy as a RoboCop game should be.
That's awesome.
It cuts off when you get to the more role-playing gamey parts of the demo, so I can't say how good that really is. But that first level it puts you through felt like fucking RoboCop to me.
That's what really
felt like RoboCop 1 to be specific.
That's what really matters. Supposedly they're making, or no, they actually are making a Blade Runner game. Now an indie studio is.
That's a tall order considering the last Blade Runner game, which you can now get on GOG. For a while it was lost, but it's one of the best games ever made.
Yeah, I know. I've watched videos of it. Supposedly this is going to be more like Cyberpunk.
An action RPG and Blade Runner, I'm kind of all set with. It just sounds like a Cyberpunk is popular, so let's do something similar.
Well,
I mean, it could be good. but I'm gonna hold my hopes till very low.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm too swamped with fucking games coming out. I also was playing Like a Dragon Inshin, which is like the Yakuza games, but it takes place in the fucking samurai period. Is pretty fun. I'm still meaning to finish the Quake 2 remaster and then do the extra fucking campaign they added onto it. Like Forza just came out. I haven't even had a chance to play Forza at all yet.
Would you play a I did read that some indie game developer, I guess, got the rights for like a Dirty Harry game. I as much as I love that movie and as much as I love Clint Eastwood, I'm not sure if I would play. It just seems like it would be a cash grab.
As long as I mean the John Wick game, I don't know if you've played that.
Yeah,
is basically a puzzle game. So I mean, it depends. Like any license or whatever, I don't really care. Like licenses don't get me anymore because like I'm an indie game guy, and some of the best indie games are completely original. Dave the Diver is just Dave the Diver, and if you haven't played that game, play that fucking game. It's fantastic. Didn't need to be part of a franchise for me to like it. If your game's good, it's good. You know.
Yeah, that's how I feel. I do feel like if they wanted to make a gritty detective game like set in the 70s, they could do that and just create their own characters now. They don't necessarily need like the Dirty Harry.
Well, like in film, you can look at it like this: is like the Joker was heavily inspired by Taxi Driver, but it's not the same film, right?
Well, right.
And it's not the same characters, and really, it's only tangentially even related to the DC Joker. You can make something completely unique and different, and I think that's the only thing that's the only way you're going to stand out anymore. A lot of indie studios are pulling some heavy weight lately with I was playing another one. It's not indie, it's like AA, but if you're a Warhammer guy, fucking Chaos Gate Demon Hunters, where you play in the Grey Knights hunting down fucking demons. It's fucking great. It's like an XCOM style game. There's just too much. I can't keep up with these AAA games because half of them are shit. I still haven't finished Starfield. I don't really think I'm gonna. It's just there's a lot of in big games, there's a lot of like grinding to pad out the time that you're playing the game.
Yeah, well that's one of the things is like there are kind of like two sides to gaming. There are those gamers that complain that games aren't long enough or the games are too long.
Right. But both sides hate padding. When you're just like, perfect example. Lord of the Rings Shadow of War, the second of the Shadow of Mordor games. When you get to the final act, it's just like, hey, do the same thing you've been doing, procedurally generated, controlling keeps, attacking orcs for like another 10 hours, and then you get to the final fight. For no other reason than just to add 10 hours to the game.
Honestly, that's why I never finished like Hogwarts Legacy, is because like the game was fun in the beginning, and like the thing with Hogwarts Legacy is that game was fun because like the Troons were like upset about it, so like
I think for Harry Potter fans, it's a game that they've wanted for a long time, so they just didn't care, But if you're not, it seems like it could be a fun game. But yeah, I have heard a complaint about at some point you start having to do tedious tasks, and it's just like, Starfield does that. Fucking most of these Cyberpunk does this to some extent.
Cyberpunk does. I would argue though that like Cyberpunk's main campaign is actually relatively short. In fact, like almost like one of the
But
complaints is
they want you not even heading out to all the side quests. They want you heading out to the collectibles and every other thing. They all do this padding shit. That
right.
is completely unnecessary, and people just skip it. I guess it's there for people who like it, but the problem has become that they're more making it mandatory now. Right? Your point, you could just play the main campaign of Cyberpunk and ignore all the fucking side content, and it's probably only like 12 hours long. Right?
Yeah.
But the fact of the matter is they put all sorts of dev time into all that other fucking shit. You know what I mean? And it's there, and some of it's better than others. You know, side quests are generally a step above. All the romance options that aren't Pan Am are bad. All
right.
of them are. If they're not Pan Am, it's bad. Judy would be fine, except you have to be a lesbian with her. You can't.
Yeah.
Dude, like hitting on me randomly when I was just being his bro was a bit jarring.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I did nothing to make him like I could even understand if the dude's gay, but I did nothing that would have made him think that I was into him. I just helped him find his like nephew or whatever. And
Yeah.
he's just like, hey, want to make out? And I'm like, ew, fuck you. No. And then there's the tranny that you can romance. I actually made the tranny feel really bad. Because if anybody hasn't played, the story with the tranny is they're doing races. And they convince you that they want to win the races because their ex-husband from before they were a tranny, when they were both dudes, died, and another racer killed him. And so then the tranny says to you, we need to do this race so that we can kill him. And so I'm like, okay, so we're not going to go try and win the race. And the tranny's like, yeah, we're not going to try. So I follow the guy. We go off the racetrack. We lose the fucking race. The dude crashes. I get out the car with the fucking tranny. What does the tranny turn and say? Okay, you finish him off. Nah, bitch. We're here because you wanted to kill this guy, so fucking do it.
I did the exact same thing, Max.
And then they hate you forever.
Yeah. And
I'm like, you. Training or not, you could have taken the training part out of that fucking story. I would have reacted the same way. You wanted to kill this guy. Don't tell me to fucking kill this guy. He ain't done nothing to me.
Yeah. No,
So even Cyberpunk falls short on writing, in my opinion, sometimes. Like some of it's like, oh God.
Well, I mean, okay, so let's all be honest, because I get people who cope about this. The big draw for people for Cyberpunk was that Keanu Reeves was starring in it. And anyone who's like, no, that's not true.
It wasn't for me, but I was excited before they announced that because I was a tabletop role-playing gamer and I played Cyberpunk, and they made The Witcher, and The Witcher is also good, so I figured so. But then adding Keanu Reeves didn't hurt my opinion of the game.
No. And by the way, I'm a Keanu Reeves fan, so but I think we can also be honest and say that, like, for most normies, like, he was the draw to the game for like a lot of people. Mm-hmm. He did a really good job. But yeah, I mean, I even feel like with some of his, like, Johnny's side content was probably the most interesting
because he's the most interesting character in all of Cyberpunk, and that's why if you were gonna get Keanu Reeves in a Cyberpunk game, he's the character it has to be Johnny Silverhand.
Yeah.
You couldn't have made him anybody else. But the fun thing about that, I think, probably for Keanu, is it's the most dick-headed character he's ever played.
It's also...
He always plays a nice guy, you know what I mean? But Johnny Silverhand is not a nice guy. He's an asshole.
Right. No, it's also, at least as far as his like adult work goes, it's also, if I'm not mistaken, one of his roles where he's actually like had the most dialogue, because in the Matrix and in John Wick, he mostly like does minor dialogue and then it's mostly action. but in Cyberpunk he does tend to like talk and emote.
But he's not
a
involved in
lot.
any action realistically, except that one mission you play through.
No, not really.
Because
So
he's in your head. He can't be. You do all the action, so they had to have something for him. And yeah, they did a good job with it. I'm gonna say though, it's as RPG writing goes, it's no Kingdom Come Deliverance. It's not even close.
no,
Kingdom Come Deliverance is still the best written RPG there is, except maybe Planescape Torment. And if you don't know what those are, you're missing out.
it's not even Star Wars Knights the Old Republic.
Right? Yeah.
You know.
It's good for what it is. He nails the, Johnny Silverhand role. It's fun. I've liked the game. I think people hated the game for very little reason. I waited a year to play it though, so to be fair.
Yes. So I waited like a year and a half to play it. So by the time I played it, it was pretty much bug fixed for the most part.
Yeah, I can tell you October last year was when I last played it based on these achievements.
Yeah. And that's also why I don't really pre-order games that much anymore too, is just because of bug fixes.
Well, that and like as a PC gamer, we've been trained that Steam sales. Wait for your fucking Steam sale. Now that's kind of common for console players too. I've noticed on the Xbox, and I know it's similar on PS5, that there's a lot more sales on digital games than they used to have in like the previous generations because they finally figured out that's good for business.
Yeah, no, when I got my
and pre-owned games is bad for their business, right? So for anybody that's wondering why they're leaning into digital media, it's because pre-owned games are bad for their business.
Yeah, no, I know that you and Morpheus saw my tweet where the PlayStation store, they were selling The Witcher 3 for like $50, and I know that game has been out for a couple of years, so I'm like, I'm not
The average price I see on the game of the year edition on PC whenever there's a sale is like $5. That's the only reason I mention it, because it's like a $5 game. 50? Yeah, no, 50 would be a bit much.
I think it was 25. I got it on Amazon Prime for like $25 used.
Yeah, you got the disc version.
Yeah.
I actually got the disc version for Xbox as well because it's a good one to have. Although I hide the disc because there's too much sex and nudity. My kid can't play The Witcher.
Yeah.
Violence is like whatever. I'm not so big on the violent stuff in video games for kids. He mostly doesn't play violent games anyway. He plays Lego.
Yeah.
But straight up, the sex scenes in The Witcher is too much. And like there's one right away.
Well, yeah.
He's 7. So. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, you're at least you're responsible, as far as parents go. I know that. So
yeah, that's the only inappropriate game on Xbox I even own. I don't buy games I consider inappropriate, but I was like, I kind of want to have Witcher 3 in 4K.
Yeah, I don't.
Seems
I don't. Fun. Yeah, I don't blame you for that. So,
yeah, video games far more interesting than the Israel-Palestine conflict.
Oh yeah, that is the other thing is over the weekend I was basically just like, I was hardcore gaming, and people were like, how can you game and watch movies at a time like this? And I'm just like, and when I'm doing it dramatically, like that's how I pictured people like saying it, and I'm just like, because
it's always a time like this to somebody.
Exactly. And because that's always what I've done. I always watch movies on Friday night. I'm not going to sit and cower in my bedroom because World War III might be on the horizon.
Right. Well, and you still like, if you're If you're, this is why these internet guys with no other life, they're like that. But if you have a real life, like you're out there at your fucking job, you're taking care of your kids, you're fucking taking care of your health, right? Who has enough time in the day to sit there and fret about everything? I don't know. It's certainly no one I know. It's
It's
very online behavior.
it's yeah, it's not even that, but it's actually more it's actually more exhausting to fret about this stuff than just to like be busy and like work on stuff, you know?
Well, you're not changing what's going on, no matter what you do.
That's the other thing too, it's like it's out of it's out of our hands mostly. It's like I was saying at the beginning, like the reason why I interviewed my friend in Israel is because like that is something that I could do. And like, yeah, it doesn't make an impact, like globally, but like I got a bunch of messages from people like being like, "Wow, I really like that you had someone who was actually over there.
Mhm.
Thank you for that." Like, yeah,
And it
that might
doesn't
not
contradict what we're saying because we're talking to a regular person,
right.
from their perspective. And that's who I really care about. And the people on the news media don't, and the people in politics don't. And it's really tough for me anyway, to pretend like I'm a part of that cycle and it's just fine.
It's I mean, the other thing too is, we talk about like I've noticed that there is like a grifting component to all that too, because
Yep.
like now, full disclosure, like I do believe in, being prepared for like natural disasters and shit. So I'm not mocking the prep or community per se because I'm an Eagle Scout. Be prepared is our
Yeah. You mean real
motto.
preppers who are actually doing prep rather than ones talking about what they should do online and never doing any of it?
Yeah, those people.
Yeah.
Yeah, those people who are now selling fucking food kits. Because the global war might be, coming, or at least in their heads.
Yeah, and that food kit is gonna rot in your fucking basement. That's what's gonna happen to it. Buy that so it sits there in a bucket in your basement for all fucking eternity. So it's the same thing as you buying that fucking treadmill that you don't use, motherfucker.
Yeah, and it's like, yeah, I like that was one of the things. I mean, I'm sorry, but I can't resist bringing this up. That was one of the things that Mersh was like making fun of me for. Was he's like, you have a small show and you make no money. You're really bad at making money on your show. Well, motherfucker, you've been reduced to watching fucking cat videos on your
We are bad because
show.
we're bad at begging. That's what it is, Like we have this thing called dignity. If somebody wants to
Yeah,
support the show, they like the links are fucking there for that. But more than that, I would say don't even just buy Sam's book. That's what we've been hawking all along.
it's
And he ain't getting
also.
rich off of it. It's just the point of if you want to help out, that's the way to do it.
I mean, look, I will say, like, I paid for, uh, I paid for Spider-Man and Phantom Liberty from the book sales. I also helped to pay for the web domain for like my actual like blog website for the year from some of the royalties too. So like, yeah, it does. Like, I'm not getting rich off of it, but yeah, like it does.
It
It
helps.
has.
It helps, and it doesn't. It's not us begging because that is how you become a fucking complete goon with your with a literal collection played out, or like, you guys gotta donate so that I can pay my rent this month. You go get welfare. There's more fucking honestly. There is more dignity in some of these guys just going and taking welfare and stop streaming the way they do than what they're doing. And they don't even understand how fucking. I look worse at a guy like Mersh or that Steel Toe than I do at the guy outside Walmart with a collection plate saying he's homeless. That guy, I have more respect for that guy.
I don't even know who the podcast was, but like my friend Eric Bishop, who I had on the show just like a week ago, he said that he said that he went on like a live stream podcast, and I guess the host was interviewing him, and he said it was pretty jarring because like every few minutes Eric was being asked a question, and the host would be like, hold on, and then it would do like, we have a $50 super chat from XYZ. Like, I do hate that too when you have a guest and then the host interrupts the guest to like do a super chat. Like,
well, we like whether super or regular, we always get to chat, but like in time, you're
right,
not paying for the privilege to interrupt what we're fucking talking about. You're paying essentially for the privilege of us reading your shit, but we read your shit for free most of the time anyway.
Right. But what I'm saying now is like that does tend to be a trend though. Like streamers do interrupt everything to kind of to read super chats. God.
Well, I mean, that's why Jim made a point to he just does his at the end for like an hour. He gets a lot of them, but he could just say no. He could just not have done any of that. But he was like, "Oh, okay. Hey, I'm gonna do super chats now. If you don't care about that, you can tune out." That was a smart way to do it.
I mean, that's how I would do it if we got more super chats, which we have.
But we just don't push that at all. It's just a thing that's there.
Yeah.
And these beggars, like the ones that, you know what, reading the super chats and interrupting the show is like a mild annoyance, but stopping the show to beg the audience is, to me, the worst offense. But that, again, my background is in traditional radio. If you did that on traditional radio, they have a blacklist for that. So if you got on as a DJ on a radio station and you solicited donations from the audience, you would never work in terrestrial radio again. They would all know, no, this guy's not allowed on the air because we don't want beggars.
Right. No, that is actually
they had
true
to do
too.
Radio DJs want to make extra money. If they're popular, they got to do shit like write books, do comedy shows, fucking find another fucking thing for you to do to make money, because you can't just beg your fucking listeners. But the internet broke the fucking game. Now you can just beg your listeners, and look at how lazy the people that do that are.
And all those same people are the ones that like make fun of NPR too.
Yeah.
And it's like,
well, at least NPR, it's not, hey, I need you to pay to fix my BMW. It's, this is how the station is funded. So we do an ad break every fucking 45 minutes and say, hey, this whole station will no longer exist if we don't get funding. That's a little different than like Steel Toe saying, I'm going to be broken homeless if you don't send me $150 right now. Good. Be broken homeless then. If you think people are supposed to care, you're stupid. No one cares. And if you provide a show entertaining enough that somebody's going to throw some money at you, that's fucking great. But the entitlement doesn't hold up very well for very long.
Yeah, I mean, and look, people do throw
polls and shit.
Whenever people do throw me donations, I appreciate it, but I don't expect it either.
Well, and we don't sit there and take 10 minutes of the show to say, oh, you got to do the donations because they support. It's literally, we do it a lot quicker. Yeah, you want to help? Buy Sam's book. Links in the description.
Yeah, I mean, I do have donation links in the description as well. You know, this past week, like I said,
But we
I
don't have to
show.
spend a lot of time talking about it. There has been plenty of people that have fucking sent in super chats and whatnot, right? Just because we're not like, hey, you're gonna send in the super chats. People just do it if they want to fucking do it. That's how it should be. That's what the system's for. It's not for please send me super chats right now. We need to make $150, guys, right now by the end of the show, or I'm gonna be homeless.
You want
Fuck you then be homeless.
You want to know? I actually have to give myself credit for this though. So I guess James Bond is maybe going to go woke. Like when so what I did was so there's this website called Bounding
The
into
name's
Comics.
Bond. James Bond.
So there's this website called Bounding into Comics, which was like reporting on this. And so I quote tweeted them and said, okay, rather than complaining about like James Bond going woke, I actually wrote a book and you can buy it here. And they actually retweeted me. So that's how you market. Instead of complaining at wokeism, make something that's not woke and promote that.
Yeah. At some point, I'll fucking put a book out as well. I think that's a good policy. At some point, we've been meaning to do this for quite a while, ladies and gentlemen. At some point, merchandise is coming. The designs, we've flown some designs out there, but we haven't gotten anything sufficient yet. But yeah, we'll sell shit. The thing is the best way to do it is if you're supporting the Sam Whitfield show, then you're gonna get something in return for your fucking money.
Yeah. I do want to
the show itself, because that's a cop out.
I do want to address this real quick. Morpheus says so that's why Steel Toe stopped covering DSP. Aaron has become DSP. No.
Yes.
Honestly, more like Aaron hangs out with DSP and Mersh now. They all hang out together in the same circle.
It's
now.
the Mersh effect. Yeah, he's a part of the Mersh effect.
Literally.
Yeah.
Aaron has stopped covering DSP because he's hanging out with DSP. So yeah.
Is that why people knew him before? I only saw Paul Awful's thing about him, and it was the most embarrassing thing. I've seen DSP beg for donations, and that's pretty bad. But these people had a collection plate.
Aaron, much like Mersh, was, from what I understand at least, was also like one of the O&A hangers on too.
Well, I know he had a radio show for a short period of time on a small station, I think in Kansas, and he got fired for being too edgy or whatever. He was a morning zoo guy. I was making fun of morning zoo guys just last week, right? Toilet flush. Yeah.
That actually got clipped. That actually got clips from one of my IL friends clipped that.
Yeah.
And it's hilarious.
You should show me, because the toilet flush thing's too much, but the fucking morning zoo shit, that's what he was. He was a morning zoo show, decided to move over to the internet, and then again, like nobody ever, he must not have worked in the radio industry very long, because I've heard him say now that he thinks he's going to get back onto the terrestrial radio at some point in the future. I'm here to tell you, sir, that's not going to happen, because you beg. No one will hire you. You're a beggar. Clear Channel owns every goddamn radio station, and I promise you they will not hire you. Promise you that. They won't hire me. I am not a beggar. I have a foul mouth. I'm on a different list.
Yeah, they probably won't hire me either. So
well, yeah, but like generally, if you have experience as a DJ, it's easy to get work at a different station. But if you're a
Right.
beggar or a foul mouth, look, I paid my FCC fines. All right. I think I should have a clean slate.
How much are those, by the way? Like, I know that Howard Stern like has made some like absurd
Well, his
number.
was in the six figures, but they're very rough. They're very
Yeah.
rough. Okay. I put it that way. Like, I'm no Howard Stern, and I was on at 3 a.m, so it wasn't no
Right.
6 figures, but it was 5 figures.
Yeah.
Yeah, 5 figures for saying fuck. I paid it.
Ooh.
I paid it. Just don't say fuck on the radio.
Yeah.
I learned my lesson, but it doesn't matter. Plus, I quit in glorious fashion. That probably doesn't help. But I'm not a beggar, right? So maybe I have a better chance if I ever wanted to, you know.
That's the whole thing. Is like, it just like people are like, oh, you don't make any more, you don't make any money on the show. No, we actually do. We don't begging for money is not the same thing as making money on the show.
And also being very open about begging for money is a tell. Just so you know, we don't do that. People who do that, that's kind of a tell. A tell as to what? Well, maybe that they don't. Maybe they're not in a very financially stable place. Put it that way. We have no such problem here. You know, this is a show we like. Sam's been doing this show fucking rain or shine for what, 15 years?
Yeah. I mean, I've been doing and that's the other thing too, is like podcasting as a format did not start out as like e-begging thing. It was honestly, like, it was a big nerd hobby when it first like you know, like I was around when a bunch of like comic book podcasts were like starting out. Like, I'll tell you what people did use it for. Like, the guy who ran the local comic shop near me had a podcast, and he would use it to like say like,
talk
hey,
about events.
We're gonna talk comics, but also, folks, we have specials on.
Next week we're gonna have so and so in the store doing a signing, and also all these issues of whatever are on sale. Yeah, that's brilliant. Yeah,
and like that's how like comic book podcasting, like, even before the MCU, you know, or any of the or even of any of the big superhero movies became like a thing. That's what comic book podcasts, for the most part, initially were
internet radio was on a different tip, but there was a similar problem, is that it was kind of a nerdy thing. And so the problem that we started to solve from like when we built Cryptic Radio, which was one of the first to do what it did, was how are we going to get non-nerds to click on this? And the answer was to make it as simple as fucking possible. And so what we did is we built a player right into the website. So all you had to do was go to crypticradio.com, and then the show's playing. Whatever's live on the air right now is just playing in the background. And then there was a link that you could play it in a Winamp or something, so you didn't have to keep the window open. Winamp, for all you young whippersnappers, is like iTunes for old people.
I had Winamp.
Yeah, Winamp. I mean, Winamp really whips the llama's ass. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I also had Acrobat. I actually talked about this. I had Winamp on my PSP, on my PlayStation Portable.
Yeah. Winamp was a trustworthy fucking media player. And so what you could do with Winamp was this thing called shoutcasting, which is how we ran the whole fucking thing.
Yep.
And shoutcast connected to, we use the IceCast program. And so you could broadcast your audio from your computer over through Winamp. So we just built a Winamp player right into the website. So because like our main group wasn't nerds. Our main groups were people who are aware of the internet and into hardcore rap music, underground horror shit, right? So he's not exactly the nerdiest people in the world for the most part. And so we had to just be like, okay, just come to crypticradio.com and it'll automatically play. And so we used to have a lot of fucking listeners once we figured that out, because we were the only ones doing it.
What I did,
then it was just a matter of trading flyers around at fucking like concerts. We just made up flyers and we'd have DJs, like, because it was an internet thing, all the DJs were located all over the country. So like if there's a show up in Boston, I was going to be there anyway. I'm dropping fucking Cryptic Radio flyers left and right, handing them to whoever. And it worked because the peak broadcast of my show back then, again, the midnight hour, was 17,000 live listeners.
Yeah.
You know, get the fucking message out there and make it simple. And what it was is these people listen to this kind of underground music anyway, and it's just a radio station, uncensored, playing it 24 hours a day. So once they found it, they were like, yeah, it's cool. And they could put it on the old iPods used to support it too.
Yeah.
Like the real old iPods.
Yeah, no, when I first started, I mean, I used Shoutcast too, but the other thing was, so initially, like for podcasting, there was Libsyn, and that was kind of it as far as like hosting went. But what I did was Google had this product called FeedBurner. And there was actually a way where you could use the Internet Archive, and then you could also use FeedBurner to like jerrig like a podcast hosting thing for free, basically. And so I would basically like use Winamp to like do the live stream, but I would also be like recording it, and then I would basically just like upload my show to like a private like Internet Archive page and feed that into the FeedBurner thing, and then send that to iTunes. So it was kind of like it was a jerry-rigged, I mean, it looks like a 90s website, but it worked, and that was how a lot of people did free podcast hosting back in the day. Since Libsyn,
see, we had paid for the bandwidth and everything for the site, but like we didn't. I recorded a lot of my shows, but they're long since lost. We don't have any archive. That's the sad part. Cryptic Radio is just gone, gone. And it was a period of time. What happened actually is like the code and stuff that we used for the website got bought out by Psychopathic Records and was later used to create what they called Hatchet Radio, which I did work for for a short period of time. But it was too restrictive for me, because for the same reason radio was too restrictive for me. But in their case, it's like you can swear, you can pretty much say whatever you want. But what you couldn't do was what I used to do on Cryptic, which was listen to people that they have no contract with or anything, because I would have anybody just could send me a song and I'll play.
Yeah.
Right. And they didn't let me do that at Hatchet Radio because they were essentially part of the record label. So they wanted to promote their own artists.
Yeah, no. Almost all my shows from like of the Whitfield analysis from like 2008 to 2011 are gone because the files and the website just.
And I did bring it back. I couldn't call it Cryptic because the guy Cryptic that started it, that's why it was Cryptic Radio, fucking owned it. But I came back and me and a few friends in like 2008 or 9 did SSR, which was So Sick Radio. And we did the same kind of thing for a while. Obviously, by that point, though, people were watching YouTube or just listening to music on iTunes or Spotify. So not as popular. And I don't expect it to be popular, but God damn it, I'm going to do it for my own enjoyment. This Halloween, the midnight hour, Hall of fucking Wicked stream with the most brutal, ruthless, sick and twisted fucking music known to man. That's Devil's Night, by the way. Devil's Night, October 30th.
I also used to use Blog Talk Radio, and then I was part of like a podcast network on Spreaker when that was a thing. And then
I got into this kind of shit because there was an open Google Hangout that I joined one
yeah,
time to call somebody the F slur, and I just been arguing with people about politics ever since.
I, I miss Google. I miss Google Hangouts. I miss Google Hangouts on air.
Yeah,
That
I had a
was
lot of fun. Like StreamYards is a not worthy successor to it either. It used to be people would have these open Google Hangouts, and you can find hours and hours of being schmooly trolling motherfuckers in open Google Hangouts. Now, you'll have to find these random ass 8-hour streams, with 5 fucking viewers to find it. But if you do find it, we're really funny.
I think on my Sam Whitfield YouTube channel, you can still find some Google Hangouts. I'm a bit chapped because when we lost the Whitfield Report channel, we also lost a lot of the Google Hangout streams that unfortunately weren't, or may fortunately, depending on how you look at it, didn't get uploaded to Rumble because we made just edgy jokes for the sake of being edgy on some of those. But yeah, good times. See, folks, talking about old internet radio, way more fun than talking about World War III, huh?
Anything is
But,
more fun than that. Well, except maybe getting raped in the butt. That's probably not. I'd probably rather talk about World War III than get raped in the butt.
well, I mean, the military industrial complex wants to rape us in the butt collectively by forcing us
True.
into this, war. So
I just wish they would at least kiss me first.
yeah, or at least
Because I like to get kissed when I'm getting fucked.
or or if you're gonna treat us like whores, just always pay us first. So, but
Leave it on the fucking dresser, motherfucker.
yeah,
Yeah, it's pretty wild out there. Keep your
but
fucking heads down, boys. Do your thing. Don't worry about all this fucking shit.
yeah,
If they institute a draft, I have it on good authority that they don't allow racists in the military, so you might just want to use the N-word.
oh boy.
That's Max's advice on how to get out of the draft is publicly say the N-word.
Well, I mean, I'm already set that like people feel sorry for me because I'm in a wheelchair, but it's like this is one of the advantages to being like crippled is like
Yeah, that's some bullshit. That's some bull. We need to get Sam drafted, boys. He's gonna get out of this shit. We need to do something here. We need to make him in his fucking wheelchair into a tank.
so then my fantasy of becoming the Punisher can become true then, basically.
Well, you'd be like half a Punisher.
Well, yeah, I'd be like I'd actually be like a cyborg Punisher, maybe.
That'd be pretty cool.
So
Yeah, let's get him some like tank tread fucking wheelchairs. Get him out in the desert with an AK-47 and a fucking turban on.
that is my other complaint about Cyberpunk. Why are there fucking wheelchairs in like I guess if you're poor and you can't afford like
Legs.
cybernetics,
Yeah.
but like yeah, if you're in I can't remember which gang it is in Cyberpunk 2077, but there is one gang and like one of the capos or something is in like a wheelchair, and it's like, dude, you probably have the eddies to get like cybernetics or some shit like that. Like, why?
Yeah. I mean, see, I have perfectly working legs. And the first thing I was like is, ooh, can I get legs that double jump though?
Yeah.
That'd be pretty cool.
Why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you get why wouldn't you get grill arms?
Seriously. Then I was like, wait, I can get gorilla arm? Let's fucking go.
I'm kind of afraid to know what Morpheus's chrome build would be like if he could actually get one, because
Morpheus says, no draft for me either, bitches. And he's also said, I'll be the other half of the Punisher.
Morpheus would probably be like oh, who's
You guys are gonna form the cripple Voltron. All of a sudden you both roll up and your wheelchairs start folding out into fucking robots and shit.
Apex, one of the guys that Apex and I used to hang out with used to call me Crippletron, actually. So yeah, I propose we bring that back and make Crippletron a thing.
That's right.
So.
Well, you'll be like the crippled Megazord now. You're gonna fucking merge together your wheelchairs and you're gonna be a giant walking. You guys will just be the legs. We need like 4 more cripples to make this happen.
And imagine that, like, I can just imagine that, like, the Crippletron would be probably more equipped to deal with, like, insurgents than the military.
That's right. But you know what they're not equipped to deal with?
Stairs.
Yeah, you got me. They're like, we're gonna save the country. Fuck. Stairs. Why does it always have to be stairs?
That would also be the problem with like sending us to the Middle East too. Is like expecting us to like fight in like ancient ass like Middle Eastern.
Those houses don't look very wheelchair accessible.
No, not at all.
We're gonna have you fucking sweeping house to house, and you're like, I can't even get in the fucking door.
No, not even that. But like, think of it. Like, there's sand everywhere, and like, honestly, like wheelchairs don't do good in like heavy duty sand. So like my wheelchair would just be getting caught in sand traps.
That's why we gotta get you a wheelchair with treads.
Yeah. They actually do make like wheelchairs with like tank treads that like wounded veterans can use to hunt, but they're like super expensive too.
Yeah, but those wounded veterans that so many are homeless. But no, let's send more money to Palestine.
Yeah,
like let's make some more wounded veterans, some more wounded warriors. Because we can't take care of the ones we got, so why not?
Yeah. Let's just further burden the VA, which okay. Granted, I do realize
beyond broken. Yeah,
I do realize that like there are bureaucratic issues with the VA too. Like I will grant people that, but there is also the problem that like the system is just so overtaxed too. But it's like it's hard. So
yeah, no, we don't need money for taking care of our own people. We got to take care of people halfway across the world. Some of whom might be terrorists. It's fine. We'll take care of them too, but just not our own fucking wounded warriors. That, like, I personally know several who are or have been homeless.
Oh, me too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When Uncle Sam cares about them, I'll care about what Uncle Sam, wants to get into a war about. Take care of those guys. Take care of the starving children we've got. Take care of the crime problem. Take care of literally anything in this country. Bring back some manufacturing. Jobs. We could use jobs. Bring inflation down. How about gas prices? You want to do something about? No. Let's just send money to fucking Israel and Palestine.
America. Wow, it's almost like you actually literally do care about like putting America first, Max. Imagine imagine that America first is like an actual action.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. I know it's weird. It's this weird old mentality nobody has anymore.
make America. I don't think it would work quite as well.
Oh,
Like,
Morpheus, by the way, said he in the crippled Voltron, he's the arms because he's the jacked ass arms, jacked as fuck arms. Sorry.
based.
Yeah.
I think Mesa would be a good slogan. Make America sane again.
How about just like America again? We don't even need to make just America again.
Yeah.
Like, can we have that? Is that too much? Because we don't have it anymore.
Yeah, it is. It is. It's too. That's too much. What do you want? You want the American dream? Oh,
not even the dream. Don't need the dream. Don't need the dream. Just America again, the way it was about 10 years ago. See, a lot of people say further back than that, but a lot of people are fucking short-sighted. No, 10 years ago is fine.
Yeah, no, 10 years ago. 10 years ago is fine,
with the way of things then, except for the wars.
Yeah.
At least everybody was pro-America troops or whatever. Now everybody shits on them too. They shit on everybody. Everybody hates everybody. Nobody's a part of any fucking larger, greater thing than themselves. Nobody can fucking think past their fucking the nose on their face. And this is why I'm outside. And this is why I'm being dad. And this is why I'm not paying attention to all this stupid bullshit, except enough to fucking point out how stupid the bullshit is.
This is also ironically why the show where you talked about going camping, where we both talked about what we did on 4th of July, is one of the highest rated shows that we've done this year.
Yeah.
Though I'm not kidding either.
Yeah, I'm not surprised by that at all. We talking about the same shit. I mean, everybody covering politics is always on the same fucking 2 or 3 topics anyway. But this just magnified it.
To quote as, it's boring. It's so fucking boring. Which is how I feel about like this.
Last year it was pick the side of Ukraine and Russia. Now it's pick your Palestine or Israel. What side are we going to get forced to pick from next? Who knows, ladies and gentlemen, but I guarantee there will be one.
There always is. And it's boring.
Mm-hmm.
So
I find a lot more fun in like taking my kid down to the park than watching some jack off tell me about his political opinions. And if you're watching these jack offs talk about our political opinions, well, that's different because you have good taste. I'm talking about all the other jack offs.
I will say
I always tell the show, even when I'm ripping on the whole idea of like what we're doing here. I still say, this is the spot though. This is different.
Well, I mean, it actually is, because like we can at least admit that it's all BS kind of.
I mean, we could not. What we could do is we could totally just take a side and shill and beg for donations and probably do a lot better.
Yeah. But then we'd also feel like total pieces of shit for.
Well, I wouldn't, because I have no problem like lying like that. Because if people believed me, it would be very funny.
I mean,
I wouldn't feel bad at all.
I mean, like I could have sold out in like gone on the Never Trump train.
That would have been a
Because
fruitful
like
endeavor for you for about 2 months, though.
yeah, I would have made I would have made at least 60K during those 2 months.
Fair enough.
You know.
Yeah, I act like I would sell out, and I'm literally a guy that's like quit multiple fucking positions over not wanting to sell out. So
No, I mean I will say one thing for the for kind of like the fear mongers is all these like conspiracy theories at World War III that like honestly I will say this, they do make great premises to like write fiction around
yeah, I would
because
love like I always thought like the greatest universe you could create would be one where all of the conspiracy theories are true at once, even the ones that contradict each other.
that's actually kind of been one of my problems, to be honest, in like writing my series. Like I actually like tried to integrate some of these conspiracy theories into the plot, and some of them just don't work because they contradict each other.
Yeah. No,
So
I just want to create a world. It's like yours, or it's a James Bond type world. And but one conspiracy theory is true, and that it's that the Earth is flat. And your job, you work for the secret organization that's charged with making sure nobody knows that the Earth is fucking flat. I feel like that would be a good premise for a comedy.
I, I feel like a premise where like we never went to the moon and the moon landing was fake. Like
No, it's even better than that because they tried to go to the moon, and the first rocket they shot hit the dome. That's the premise of my universe. The first rocket they shot hit the fucking dome, and they were like, "Wait a minute." But they couldn't tell everybody. So that's why they faked the moon landing, because they couldn't actually get there.
Yeah, yeah.
Firmament.
Yeah, and we totally like had CGI and like advanced computer special effects in the 1960s.
Yes.
Yeah.
Obviously.
Even though like computers were like, the size of like
What would you
entire
do?
houses.
Hold on, though. Think about this realistically for a second. What would you do if you had promised everybody you're going to get to the moon? You're the fucking head guy at NASA, right? And the first rocket hit the fucking dome and blows up. What would you fucking do? You probably fake the moon landing too, because otherwise your funding's about to get cut once everybody realizes that the whole point of NASA is to launch rockets into space, and we can't do that. So they had to fake it, you see?
Fair enough, but then like how?
Oh my god, what was the old one? They had what's his face direct it.
Yeah, like the 2001 Space Odyssey guy. Yeah, I know.
Kubrick.
I know.
They had
Oh yeah,
Kubrick direct it on a sound stage in fucking Las Vegas. Yeah.
Yeah.
But see, in this universe, that's all true.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, it'd make a good premise. Because, like, think about all the fucking stupid, like, spy type bullshit that would come of trying to hide that information from the general public and pretend like we went to the moon and all that. That could create a great story.
It could.
Or a bad one. Depends on who's writing it.
Yeah. It could either be really good or really bad.
Yeah. Hopefully not Johnny Fox bad, though, because that's not even really bad. It's just like unreadable.
Well, that's like a pretty low bar, though.
It is.
Like I feel like I might actually have to like try to.
Oh, I called Johnny out on the show last week. Let me see. Did he delete his channel yet? Because usually that's how he does it. Hold on, let me see. Johnny Fox. But he was up to like Yeah, 2K subscribers. Yeah, he's gotten like 5,000 fucking views on one of his videos. Wow, Johnny. He can't delete now. Oh, doesn't that suck? Oh, he's in a position where he can't delete to run away from me. Oh, it's not good. Oh, what's he gonna do?
How does he get 5,000 views? But I got capped at 850.
No, he bots.
Oh yeah.
He bots and he buys Facebook ads for his shit, which is why like his content is really, really dumb. For anybody, like if you don't believe me, look up the Johnny Fox Show on YouTube and just watch any one of his videos and tell me the guy's not like dumb, like actually stupid. But because he's advertising on Facebook, you see what I mean?
Yeah,
He
well,
picks up a lot of dumb Facebook users because who uses Facebook in 2023? It's all boomers. He's talking to boomers and they think he's really funny because he says fart sometimes.
yeah, well, like, I'll admit, like, I had a bunch of boomers who were, like, saying, like, in my early days, who were like, you could be the next Rush Limbaugh, or something like that, because
I don't know. You'd have to gain quite a bit of weight.
that's very true. And I would also have to start smoking a lot more cigars.
Yep. Get hooked on pain pills. Switch to vaping. Like, you got a long way to be Rush. Come on now.
I have to get married and divorced, like, what was it, 4 times or 3 times?
Yeah, but boomers, boomers is a low bar to impress them, so I'm not surprised that he would pick up a bunch of boomers and then he's got the bots. Yeah. But either way, his channel's too big now to run away from me. Usually what I said last week, he'd have deleted his whole channel. Now that I've confirmed that he ain't going anywhere because he doesn't want to give up his successful channel, 2,000 subscribers is not particularly successful on YouTube, but whatever. He can't run away from it. So I'm going to have to bring the fight. I have his Discord. I should just put his Discord up on Twitter and see who wants to join.
Well, I mean, if it's
I can't, but
well, I mean, if it's an open Discord, like, fair game, right?
he'll ban you, but yeah, it is open to join. He's just like super paranoid of me coming in, and if I come in, he gets me. He gets me pretty quickly. Granted, I don't pretend to be anybody but who I am. I probably could just like be like Johnny Fox fan 22 or something, and he'd fucking not know, but like that's not how I operate. I like people to know that I'm fucking with them.
Yeah, no.
A bit of a code of honor for me.
Yeah, that's the thing is when you're fucking with people, you tell people. So, which
and you would think that would like be enough to stop them, but you'd be wrong.
It's the internet. People are dumb here.
That's for sure. Everything's guilt by association, right?
Yep.
I'm getting asked today. I'm not gonna delve into like who or what was discussed, but I'm getting asked today. Hey, Sam likes so and so on Twitter. I'm like, yeah, Sam likes everybody. He's good at promotion. He befriends everybody.
I mean, there are some people who I generally like don't follow, but like if you retweet like enough my stuff and like kind of seem normal-ish, yeah, I'll probably follow you or something like that
And that doesn't mean that's not a confirmation of their fucking moral character on your end. You're just like, oh, this guy retweets my shit and he doesn't seem like a fucking freak.
You literally asked me if I knew who I can't even remember who it was now, but like you asked me who like a certain someone was because you got asked about them, and I'm like, who? Like I had to look them up to like
me too.
Yeah.
I got asked, I was like, I don't know who the fuck that is. Oh, well, Sam follows him. I was like, that doesn't mean he knows who the fuck it is either.
That tends to be the case with not just me, but with a lot of people.
Same.
Yeah.
You don't vet everybody you follow. And so imagine being the guy that says that if you follow somebody on Twitter that follows somebody else that does a bad thing, makes you that same bad thing. Like, that would be a pretty stupid position. Not to say any names or anything, but that would be a pretty stupid position to take, wouldn't it?
That logic is so retarded too, because I mean, I know it's
We're
an
all
old
6 degrees to separation from
yeah.
somebody.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was gonna say. Have people not heard of the 6 degrees of separation, thing? Like, I know it's cliche, but it's true.
Yeah, well, and people do
Like,
it for like celebrities. Like, it was always Kevin Bacon was the big one or whatever. But like, the idea is that you can go through the connections of people you know to people that they know to people that they know and connect yourself to people that you would never fucking expect. And it usually takes no more than
yeah,
6 degrees to get back. So by that logic, everybody is guilty of every bad thing that's ever happened in the world all the time, and we're all guilty. And that's a stupid
yeah.
position to take. Not saying any cock names. Sorry, I had a little cog in my throat there.
Yeah, yeah.
Sorry, frog in my throat. Frog in my throat.
Mm.
Oh, we got anything else? We didn't have much, and we managed to kill 2 hours.
Here's one thing I will say is, if you find the fact that I talk, politics boring, that's fine. Don't tune into the show then.
And
But
if I
don't.
find that you, for example, I don't know, talk about one particular guy on the internet, and that's
Over and
all your show is about, I find that boring.
yeah,
Yeah, that's pretty boring.
you
And
know,
especially, could you imagine if you dedicated your whole show to somebody and then they started doing all the things like to better themselves, like losing weight and like not saying as many stupid things and not being an alcoholic, and your whole job is to make fun of how he's a fat alcoholic and he's suddenly not doing the thing anymore? That must really suck. It's almost like you had a one note fucking joke and it's run out.
yeah,
Almost.
yeah.
You know, not anybody in particular.
Yeah, no. Well, also though, imagine trying to explain something like that to a normal person, and it's just
Yeah. My
it's
job
some
is that I do nothing but harass one particular person on the internet every day.
who's so niche and minute,
Yeah.
it doesn't make
Most people aren't going to think highly of that person. I'll tell you that.
yeah, well, at least with me, and I say, oh, I talk, politics and current, people generally understand that even if they don't agree with me.
Mhm.
Even even Mr. Medicare, someone who is relatively known online, most people are still like, who's that? What?
Yeah.
So
Yeah, normal people don't know any
anywho,
about this fucking shit and don't really care about it. But if you were to say, like, the other thing, this isn't either one of our career, so you won't get asked that. It was like, what do you do for a living? Isn't going to be podcasting. It's going to be other things. In his case, it is. And so it's like, oh, well, what do you podcast about? Some fat drunk guy. Yeah, people are going to think you're weird. Yeah, for sure. Because that is weird. That is weird. Like, he streams every day. I'm sorry, nobody in particular streams every day about the same guy,
Yeah.
You'd figure a guy like that really has no place to call anybody boring, but who am I to know?
Well, they can't be boring because they make money at it, and we don't. I guess that's I guess that's like, see, what I'm figuring out is like that's the new standard. If you make money at it, you're not boring.
Well, here's a counter. Maybe we're boring, okay? But we don't have Kiwi Farms thread making fun of us.
Ooh, good point.
And also, we have a lot of fun. And it seems like a lot of those kind of people don't have a lot of fun because they're always angry, you know, and yelling and flipping out on others. We sit here and laugh and talk about video games and don't really pay attention to any of that shit. I just feel like, I don't know, I'd rather be boring. Silly me. I'd rather that be boring than have a fucking collection plate. Please, audience, please give us money.
I'd rather be boring than be stressed out about randos making fun of me on the internet.
I'd rather be boring than be forced to beg because my bills are coming due and I have no other stream of income. Much rather be boring. Yeah.
Touche.
Because I'm boring, but I pay my bills. You see, it's I'm boring, but I got like VR headsets. I'm boring, but we I'm boring, but we're fucking not poor.
I'm boring, but I actually like have friends who like I connect with in real life.
Oh
and
my God, no way. There's no such thing as real life friends.
Like I go like actually, believe it or not, like I actually have met some internet friends in real life, and like, but I've known them forever too, and that's
I'm boring, but my wife is from the same town as me. I didn't have to mail order shit.
Ooh. Very nice.
Not to anybody in particular. I'm just saying there are certain people that, bring in a wife from kind of far away that maybe has a different ethnic background as them. You know what I mean? And I never had to do anything like that.
Yeah. Well,
that's because I'm boring, though.
Yeah.
That's the funny thing is, like, if you look at like Hog's life story and my life story, I win in terms of not being boring. Because his life story is that he's poor and he streams and argues with Ethan Ralph all day. You want a life fucking story that's entertaining? Let me tell you about the fucking time I met this celebrity. Let me tell you about the time I had this crazy experience. Let me tell you about the time somebody put a gun in my mouth. Let me tell you about the time when, you know what I mean? Like when I went to this crazy party. Let me tell you about the time I got in a fight, right? I have a lot of not internet stuff that's actually entertaining to listen to. But no, go off, Queen.
I could
talk about Ethan Ralph on a show all day. Wow.
The other thing too is I could also name drop actual celebrities I've met, even outside politics.
Yeah, same. But I have to like the other thing is I'm limited on a lot of them because of NDAs and shit.
Well, yeah, there's that. Also, though, I don't.
And any celebrity that I've named, it's because I can. But there are some that I can't.
Well, also though, too, like there are some celebrities are actual people too, and like they tend to get annoyed. They like obviously I'm not gonna name drop, but like I actually did meet someone who actually was like, wow, you actually like asked me like a question about me and not about like the thing that I'm known for, and I really appreciate that.
It's interesting because like when you're on kind of an inside like that, and make no mistake, I'm not saying I was a big shot. I was a go-bot. My job was to basically fucking hound dog the fuck out of celebrities. If you don't know what that means, kiss their ass.
Yeah.
Right. My job was to fucking when the car comes, my job is to step in the back seat so the celebrity can have the front. My job is to fucking walk in front of him. So if anybody's throwing shit, I'm going to get hit with it. My job is run to the fucking car and get my cell phone because I forgot it. My job is that. I'm that guy. I'm not trying to say I'm a big shot or important. Just to clarify.
You're the gopher pretty much.
Yeah, go bots. That's like an industry term. Go bots. Because go get this, go get that. But it's more than just a gopher, because a gopher might get you coffee. That's part of the job. But a gopher isn't there to take a bullet for you. You know what I mean? So we're GoBots.
Right.
Anyway, that was fine by me. I had no problem with that. But the thing is when you hang out with the celebrities day in and day out, you're working this show, now you're in charge of this guy, because it'd be a different guy all the time, a different celebrity all the time. And you're supposed to take them out on the town, hang out with their entourage and blend in, right? Everybody who does this kind of job knows celebrities are people, but it is weird talking to the general public because they don't look at it the same way.
Yeah.
You know, but it is. It's like, for me, none of this was a big deal, but I do, you know, I'm fucking not autistic enough to fucking not realize that they don't make good stories. They make great stories. You know what I mean? But I never considered that a big deal for most of my interactions with celebrities, because most of them were fucking boring. Hey, what's up? Nice to meet you. Hey, can you go get me a coffee? That's not a story I tell, right? Let me think. How many people did that exact thing? Like fucking most of them. It was like, hey, can you grab me a coffee? Hey, could you go roll up the windows in my fucking car? Whatever, right? Just stupid shit. Those don't make good stories.
Yeah. I mean, I know a guy who claims that he once smoked like cigarettes with Keanu Reeves once.
I've certainly smoked cigarettes with and given cigarettes to a lot of famous people.
I'm sure.
Because I was the one GoBot that smoked, right? And they see me up on my smoke break and they'd be like, hey, can I bum one? I've given cigarettes to some people I could name. I've did a lot of people I couldn't. But of course, they don't remember me. I'm just the guy that gave them a cigarette, right?
Right. They've probably got thousands of that. So
yeah, it helps to keep that in your mind. Like, just because I'm hanging out with famous people, I'm not, and nobody knows who I am. And nobody actually cares about my story. Like they care about like a story is entertaining, so to speak, but they don't really care because it didn't happen to them. They didn't meet the fucking person.
Yeah, and that's the other reason why I don't name drop, too much.
Some people take that shit serious. They're like, I need to meet such and such. I was like, oh, well, I've probably met such and such. I've certainly, if such and such is in the music industry, the odds are pretty good.
Yeah. Anyway, though, you've got your Halloween show. I guess we'll have more details. I'll definitely retweet it.
Well, I'm going to put together a flyer, but the details are such. I'm going to play some fucking old wicked underground horror rap, some crazy metal and punk shit. Just the most wicked, violent, obscene, absurd fucking music I can fucking get my hands on. And if anybody knows where to find all that shit, it's me. That's like my style.
Based.
And we're just going to talk spooky stories. I have some spooky stories too. I grew up in historic fucking southern Massachusetts. There are stories about the towns I grew up in. I've had some spooky shit myself. Although I'm a skeptic, I can certainly explain some of that and will on the show because it's for Halloween. But mostly we're just going to kick it old school style, wicked, fresh flavor for all the people down to hear some fresh mid 2000s fucking radio goodness, uncensored, with the most vile fucking music you could imagine.
Nice.
Yeah. Pussies, get the fuck out. This is wicked shit for the wickedest of the wicked.
Awesome. But all I have to promo other than the show is buy my book, finishing the second one. And yeah.
Buy two. Give one to somebody.
Buy 5.
There you go. Yeah. Buy 5. Buy 5,000.
Yeah. But
there's no upper limit to this. We could just keep going.
If you I mean, if here's the thing, if you're an indie bookstore and you want me to do like a signing, buy a bunch of copies and you know fly me out to wherever, and I'll do a signing.
Yeah, meet a real cripple.
Yeah, because there are enough cripples in Florida. So
Today only, meet a cripple.
to meet a cripple and buy his book.
Yeah.
So alrighty. Well, this has been fun, folks. We'll see you next time on the show. Until then,
On Halloween night.
Go do something and keep your head down, boys.
Oh wait, no, it's the 1st, so it'll be after Halloween.
See you in November then, folks.
Oh damn! I was gonna wear face paint for Halloween. I could have sworn Halloween was a Wednesday. That's my fault. I should have worn face paint tonight.
Well, thank God you didn't wear blackface, because then we really would be canceled.
That's what I'm doing next year.
Oh shit!
So we're blackface.
Yeah, well.
Yo. MC Max is in the house.
That's gonna get clipped for sure.
Based. Clip it.
Toilet flush.
I need that as a soundbite. That's why I was like, send me that clip. Toilet flush. I'm putting on my soundboard every time we talk about merch. I'm toilet flush.
Alrighty.
Well then, we will see you.
Thanks for listening to The Whitfield Report on the NGC Network. Please visit Sam's website at www.thesamwhitfield.com and support Sam on Patreon at patreon.com/Whitfield Report. Until next time, God bless, God save this great nation, and God, freedom, legacy, in that order.